Twitter's a bag full of ferrets. It's a boxing ring. You put something quite rational out and there'll be at least 50 people on the thread calling you four-letter words, thick, stupid, whatever.
There seems to be, to me, to be a concern from a lot of people that they don't have a choice of who to vote for with what we're calling the Uniparty, particularly sort of Tories, Labour, Lib Dems. They seem like one party, and Reform seems to be the only alternative to the Uniparty.
You've got to remember, there's a lot of people disgruntled with the Tories simply because they weren't conservative. This doesn't mean they want to go far right. It means they want conservatism back. They want to have lower taxes. They want small businesses to survive.
I'm Jasmine Birtles, and today I'm joined by June Slater, who's a retired businesswoman and a political insider. She's somebody who knows a lot about politics, particularly from the point of view of the average consumer, the average voter. June, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me on.
So, June, you have been canvassing ordinary people for a while now to see what they're interested in, who they really rate politically, and you know a lot about what's happening with the Reform Party at the moment. How would you describe what's going on, the ruckus that seems to be happening at the moment?
Bitterly disappointing. That's how I'd describe it. And we don't need this in our lives right now, because I do believe the average man in the street has been let down by every political face in Parliament for nearly 20 years. They've been absolutely abysmal. And like it or not, Reform is still the great hope for the future. And what politicals don't seem to understand, what matters on Twitter fades to nothingness in real life. And I do this with various issues, not just Reform. If you want to know what people think, the best way to start is to find out if they're even aware of the protagonists. So I get my little clipboard when I'm going to do my shopping, and I stand outside and try and nobble a few people outside Sainsbury's or the Co-op and say, can I ask you 4 questions? Have you heard of these people involved in politics? And I usually vary the names a bit, but on the list is Rupert Lowe, Ben Habib, Matt Goodwin, and Nigel Farage. I've had about 95% success rate with everybody knowing Nigel Farage. Nobody's heard of the others. One bloke said, oh yeah, I think I've heard of Rupert. Was he involved in a football club? Fair enough. But they don't understand that. And what I keep trying to get through to political voices, and they're just not listening, is you need to put the people out there first. And whatever's going on with Reform and whoever is right or wrong, this is people bolstering their own situation, using the public forum as I want to be the best leader for the country. Well, if you really believe that, surely it must have crossed your mind that spats in public do nobody any good. Nobody comes out, Farage, Zia, Rupert, anybody else involved, nobody comes out on top. You're all losers. Because Reform lose Rupert, Rupert loses Reform, and we lose our trust in people. Now, sadly, this is how I describe Twitter and Facebook, because I've been on Facebook 8 years and I've got about 200,000 followers. I've only been using Twitter about 4 years. Twitter's a bag full of ferrets. It's a boxing ring. You put something quite rational out and there'll be at least 50 people on the thread calling you 4-letter words, thick, stupid, whatever. Put the same blog out on Facebook and people will say, yeah, I see your point of view. I get where you're coming from. It's a completely different reaction. And I hope somebody political is listening to this, because your voters are not on Twitter. Your voters are out there. They're not looking at you on Twitter. They're not looking at you on Facebook. You have a proportion of them on Facebook. But those people on Facebook are going on Facebook to look at other stuff. Lab Bible, cat stuck in Venetian blind. What the biggest damage is here, as I can see, there's been rumblings of discontent, because I've got some political contacts in Westminster that I've relied upon to teach me about politics, because I don't understand. Like, for instance, I didn't understand that smaller parties with only 5 MPs don't get as many opportunities to ask a question in the House, which is where Rupert Lowe's been particularly brilliant. And he's got the questions in. Now, I'm looking at what I would call a pincer movement. You've got Rupert Lowe on the right, not taking any nonsense about immigration. And you've got Nigel Farage, who is 20 years into being battered about immigration, called a racist, called a Nazi. You know, even the Farage riots were named after him. He's took the stick. That boy's got the badge for the stick. And so that stick's been left with Rupert. And Nigel has been able to come across on other issues. And whichever way you look at it, let's just wind it back. The reason the people got their seats with the Reform Party, apart from Lee Anderson, is because Nigel Farage came back. It's not because you were that marvellous, and all of you need to remember that. It's because Nigel Farage gave hope. And those people out there would have voted for you if you'd have stood on your head and called yourself Ronald McDonald, whoever you are, and no matter how fantastic you think you are in because that man came back into politics. Now, after that point, it's up to you to do the work. And after that point, I believe someone like Rupert Lowe has been a bright, shining star who can guarantee himself a seat in the future, whatever badge he wears. He's done the job. He's doing it. He's the man. You know, my friend in Parliament used to send me little WhatsApp messages. She'd go, oops, she called him my boyfriend because I was that, you know, made up with how he was behaving. Oh, your boyfriend's in trouble again. And then she'd put something like what he'd said in Parliament. And then she'd say to me, because she was experienced, you know, you can't do any of this, don't you? Because this will happen and that'll happen. And, you know, we've had this jokey banter between us. And because she is a Brexiteer, to be fair. So I think Rupert's done the job, and he's ignited a lot of enthusiasm for people who have been ignored. Especially Tommy Robinson supporters who feel basically abandoned by Nigel Farage because he's been very strong in, oh, not Tommy Robinson, oh, don't talk about Tommy Robinson, because Nigel's been down the road before with this bashing that you get from the blob. And I do think that the other MPs have done well. Tice blows hot and cold, doesn't he? Comes out about net zero and you think, oh, he's got it, he gets it, then comes out about something else. I think, oh, no. But, you know, Lee Anderson, one thing we've got to know about Lee Anderson, he's certainly got a sense of humour from those conferences they've had. And Nigel knows how to get the show rocking. He's the man that does it. He's, you know, if I was starting, go on.
You've gone through them all, which is really marvellous. And as you say, you know, they've all got good sides to them. They've all got something to give. But now they're at each other's throats, it seems. Is there a way to pull them apart and keep things going? Or are we going to just have to see things splitting off, with Rupert going with Ben Habib and the others staying with Nigel Farage? Is that the next thing, do you think?
I can't see. Well, I look at it this way. Imagine that reform's a business. Say it's my business and I've got this business and I've started it and I'm doing really well because I've got a shed load of experience, and I bring in a new boy who I know very well. I've known him for years. And he comes in and, wow, he's really rocking it and he's doing a good job. But I can see him making, you know, he's writing checks that he cannot cash because he's promising people things that's never going to happen. And if you try and explain that to the wider public, you just get called, oh, she's up Nigel Farage backside. I'm not. I couldn't give a monkeys about any of them. I'm bothered about changing the country. And people need to understand how it has to be done. So, no, I don't see them coming back together, because if somebody had gone to I couldn't believe it when I saw the article that Rupert was actually talking to Andrew Tory Boy Pierce. The clues in the nickname. You know, he's the favourite son of the blob. And you've spilled the beans. Basically, to cut a long-winded story short, you've gone to talk to him about all your disgruntlements with the place you work in, and basically told them that you think you could do a better job than your boss of 25 years and you've been at it 6 months, and yet you think that's going to work. I think he's trying to be like President Trump, but President Trump will get away with it because when he gets in, he can just executive order, rubber stamp, executive order, rubber stamp, and you know what it's like.
Yeah.
Once whoever gets in tries to get any legislation passed, even with seasoned politicians, the blob just run rings round them.
Yeah.
They've crippled people's careers.
Mm,
You know, I mean, how can anybody call Dominic Raab a bully? So there should have been a bit more communication before this went public, because I'm more annoyed about him going to Tory Boy and talking to him than, he might say the door would close to Nigel, but they've known each other years, and they should have sorted this out in house. And after that, the public statement, which said there was bullying going on in the workplace, didn't accuse Rupert. From what I can gather from my friend in Westminster, the woman that was in the office is very well respected, with a long track record of working for MPs, and she's to no avail. Rupert hasn't, apparently, from the gossip, hasn't attended to the bullying, what do you call it, claims, accused. And it's rattled on through the parliamentary proceeding because they're paid by IPSA. So they don't go to Nigel Farage or Zia with the complaints. They go through the process via Parliament, and then it's come back to the party, as I understand it. And it's rolled on from there. It's got out of hand, completely out of hand. This should have been in-house.
Yeah, it should have been. And so, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, as you say, most people don't honestly care about, these sort of ructions. There is a general, those people who are close to reform, who are keen on reform, they are feeling pretty fed up. But the country as a whole, I'm guessing, isn't particularly bothered. But they are concerned. I think that there seems to be, to me, to be a concern from a lot of people that they don't have a choice of who to vote for with what we're calling the Uniparty, particularly sort of Tories, Labour, Lib Dems. They seem like one party, and reform seems to be the only alternative to the Uniparty. Do you think that they still have the support of the people who are just sick of the Uniparty, or has that been eroded by this complaint system?
I think it's only been eroded on social media. I don't think it's been eroded in the public, because I've asked. You talk to some shoppers, talk to somebody on a dog walk, see what they say. They haven't got a clue. They don't know the names involved. They are clueless. Some might have read it but haven't taken any notice. For something like this, it's a long way down the road to an election. And my biggest fear is everything that's being said. Whilst I love it, I love hearing what Rupert says. I agree with him. I want someone like that, whether people think I'm terrible. I want someone like that to run my country. But I know it's not going to happen, because half of what he's saying cannot take place. So you've got to be practical if you want to win. And you've got to take a leaf out of Margaret Thatcher's book. Appeal to the centre ground, because that's where the votes are. Whether we like it or not, we aren't enough people. We've already voted. 4 million people voted for reform and got 5 seats. 3 million voted for the Lib Dems and got over 70 seats. That's the system you're up against. We're knackered. Reform's our only hope. And there's a lot of work. It's all right, Ben saying he might start a new party and Rupert will go with him. This is all media talk, isn't it? There's a lot of work to do. And this is what I think. When Farage was handling all this during Brexit and getting called a racist, and Bob Geldof coming out, Bob the Knob Geldof, thinking he's a terrible man. Well, no, actually, he's not terrible. He's talking for a lot of people that were fed up. But he's been through all that. He's jumped through those hoops. Time's moved on. And he did it through a time when social media was very, very censored. I got posts taken down with anything to do with the migrant crisis. Twitter was worse. And I wasn't on it anyway, but for anybody, Twitter was worse. Now, we've got politicians like Trump and the Reform Party who have now got a platform where they can breathe and say what they need to say, which is Elon Musk. And, I've had 2 tweets retweeted by Elon Musk, and, David looks at me to go, and? Because he doesn't follow social media. He's not really bothered if Elon Musk. He said he's got a rocket. You're never going to have a rocket, June. Why are you bothered? So anyway, but this is massive in social media land. You've been retweeted by Elon Musk, and it's very addictive to get invited on TV and become relevant and important, and you're the voice they're going to. I mean, I can understand that. But that isn't the real world. And no matter how much support you get on Twitter, what's going to happen is all this stuff you're saying now, when it comes up to the election, the Guardian readers, the Guardian Twitterati, they'll save all the screenshots and they'll bring it out. And then they'll bring all that crap out near an election when everybody's taking notice, and all that work Nigel's trying to do in the centre ground to build up confidence that we can be a serious contender. Because you've got to remember, there's a lot of people disgruntled with the Tories simply because they weren't conservative. This doesn't mean they want to go far right. It means they want conservatism back. They want to have lower taxes. They want small businesses to survive. And Nigel's offering that. No, and people are getting it wrong. They hear what they want to hear about immigration and then think we're going to get our country back. Our country is too far gone. We're looking over the edge of the abyss. And any party, whoever you are, whatever you call yourself, if I'm Joe Soap representing the Trumpton party, you can't get our country back. You can only offer damage limitation. That's all you can offer. So damage limitation will be to stop the boats, stop the illegals, make getting into Britain harder, like in Australia, quicker turnaround with asylum seekers. That's all being offered by reform.
And that's finally, June, that are you finding is what the voter on the street is really wanting? Is that, what is it fundamentally that you're hearing from the people outside the supermarket and on the dog walks?
Well, they want a kind of Thatcherism back. They don't like her for what she did to the miners and nationalisation. They know all that. But there was a kind of semblance of responsibility in the country. Parents got up in the morning and got the kids ready for school and they gave them a packed lunch. We've got people taking them to school in pajamas, not fed. Society's gone to pot. There's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of issues. Immigration's a key one, but it's not the only one. But the immigration impacts on everything else we do. The people in the street that I talk to on dog walks, supermarkets, give a completely different perspective to the people that follow me on social media. Completely different. On social media, it's all immigration, stop the boats. Rupert Law's the same. I'm with Rupert. That's social media. An awful lot say, but it doesn't matter about feelings and whether people have got the right one. Reform's further down the road than anybody's ever been. 5 MPs in the House. We need to grow from there. They see that reform's still it's the only game in town. And to start anything new, I think, is only going to appeal to, I hate it, call it as far right, because we're not, we're sensible, but it's only going to appeal to us. And we've already voted. There's 12 to 14 million votes to pick up from the centre ground. And that's what we should concentrate on. This isn't because Nigel's gone soft. And it isn't because I'm soft. It's because that's how I see the road to go. And if they could have kept it together, Rupert doing his thing, Nigel doing his thing, get to number 10, do the wave, get in, sort the blob out, which I think is where Zia will come into his own with his IT skills. IT is going to make a mess of that lot. Yeah. Then we'd have a really good thing going on. But unfortunately, it's spoilt brat syndrome. No matter what anybody thinks, moaning and groaning about your plight in your job as a grown man, especially a multimillionaire, a businessman, especially on the other side, Zia, what are you doing going to police, you wet lettuce? Whatever he's done, he's not come charging through a room with a bloody sabre, has he? A few exchanged heated words. I mean, it's like... it's like jousting with a rolling pin. Get a grip.
Oh, great. It's been marvellous speaking to you, June. June, how do people find you on Facebook? Is it just June Slater on Facebook, June Slater on Twitter?
They usually find me quite outspoken, actually. It's June Slater Chief Gammon on Facebook. June Slater 17 on Twitter. And June Slater 63 on YouTube, which is it's more relaxed and more calm and more explanatory about what we can do moving forward. I'm more of a guru on Facebook, on YouTube. I love YouTube, actually.
Great. Well, thank you very much, June. This has been June Slater, and follow us on Twitter. And follow me, Jasmine. I'm just Jasmine on Twitter, so you can follow me there. See you next time.